the secretary of Citizen,
Yes.
if I'm right. When do you join club management?
Yeah, actually, after in 2009, I was in Egypt, and then I got injured. And from that time, because I love football, I said, okay, since I still love football, I could not move away from football. I started managing some teams as a coach and also as an administrator. 2009, and when I came back to Juba here in 2010, I decided to engage in some of the local clubs within Juba. And as I'm working with the migration department that time, I decided that okay, let us form a team, and that will be competing within the clubs in Juba, that is Citizen Football Club. And me and the current president of the South Sudan Football Association, General Agustino Mudot, we formed that club, and it was 2012. The team played. 2016 was admitted. It was admitted to play in the third division, and the team qualified to second division on 2018, and last year they qualified to first division. So I started my to be administrative of in football in 2009.
So since 2009, you've been in the management of football, and then here comes the opportunity. You are appointed as the Secretary General of South Sudan Football Association last year. First of all, tell us, how did you feel when you got the news that yes, you are now the Secretary General of South Sudan Football Association?
Actually, it's like if you are appointed to any new position, of course you would be happy, because it's like you move from a position to upper position, and of course anyone in that time would be happy, because I moved from the club level to now to a senior management of football in the country. So it was great news, and I was outside the country in one of the CAF assignment. It was Al Ahly and Sundowns. I was the general coordinator. Then I got that news there. So, and I have to come back quickly because they needed me back here, and here we are.
How has it been from the time you were appointed as the Secretary General up to now? How has it been doing that work?
You know, in any work there is challenges, there are good things, but the commitment and the surrounding environment that people working with you sometimes make work easy for you. And this is what I got in the SSFA when I came to the office, and it was 3 months to the election. So we have to do a lot of things to prepare for the election, and things has to be put in order. And all the stuff they did their best so that they can help us, including the electoral committee. They did their best.
3 months into an election, you're appointed, you do your best to organize the election, and here comes the news, the administration that appointed you, half of them are not coming back. You're now getting to work with the new administration. How has it been from the time the new administration took over up to this particular point in time? Like you said, you seem to understand the work of the current president. You've been with him in the other departments outside football.
Yeah.
How has it been from the time they took over office from, I think, August last year?
It was
July last year up to now. How has the work been in your administration?
Yeah, in the structure of the South Sudan Football Association, from the Secretary General downwards, these are the staff, and they are permanent, appointed there. Or let's say the staff are permanent. The SG can be appointed by the president or the board of directors. And since the new administration came, led by General Agustino and Vice President Charles Honorable, and the rest of the board of directors, it's the same environment, but the plan, the work, the style of the work, a little bit different, because I came remaining 3 months from the previous administration, but with the current administration we are starting together, and everything we were planning together so that we achieve the strategic plan that is was with the new administration now.
Okay, now let's get to the real discussion and talk about the mandate of SSFA. I believe you are the administrator of the institution, and you're the right person who can give the viewers of this program what is the mandate of SSFA in South Sudan.
Okay, South Sudan Football Association, or the SSFA, is affiliated to three bodies. One, we are affiliated to SICAFA, and that was we were affiliated in May 2012, and then we were affiliated to CAF in February 2012, and then to FIFA in 25th May 2012. The formation of SSFA was in 2011 as an interim body because before the separation, and then the election was done in 2012. And our main duties is to manage all the football activities in the country. When we say to manage football activities, so SSFA has 16 local football associations that are under the management of SSFA, and each local football association has its own clubs, divisions, and a lot of activities. So we regulate. We have regulations. We have statutes that is governing us, and the same regulations are applied on all the clubs and the local football association. So our main duty is to regulate the football activities all over the country, not outside the FIFA and CAF regulations.
So when it comes to regulating the football activities, specifically, someone would want to know which are those regulations that you regulate, because someone was asking yesterday a question, why can't SSFA fund football clubs that are perhaps going to represent this country in the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation games? Can you tell the viewer that it is not the role of SSFA to support or fund these teams, so that they are clearly aware of that particular role?
Okay, there is a lot of things that people sometimes they misunderstand it, and SSFA is responsible to support technically the national teams. Also, is to take care about the capacity building of the coaches and the referees, and other related activities with the management of football activities. Clubs, if we come like in the country, clubs are like private sector. Okay, that means someone has created his own business to compete in the market. Now, if you want to compete, that means you need to invest, so that you have a stable company that will compete, will get more investment and more incomes. In terms of football, if you have a club, that means you are taking it as a business. If there's anything that SSFA is giving to you, it's just because it's a kind of support, but it's not a must that SSFA should be giving it. We are supporting clubs because we know the situation, and all the clubs are not the same, and we have to support them in terms of tickets, in terms of communication with the other association to provide for them facilities in terms if they are going to play outside. But our role is not a must to support them, but is our side is we are just helping them because they are part of SSFA until when we reach to that extent that all clubs now they have investment, they can stand by their own, then everyone will be where itself.
If you say you're supporting them, you're giving them the help just because of the current economic situation that the country is going through, are you going to do the same to the two clubs that are going to represent this country, Al Hilal and Zalan FC?
It depends. I cannot guarantee that we are going to do so and so, because this is not my decision as the Secretary General, but it's a decision taken by the Board of Directors. If they say they are going to support the clubs, it will be implemented. So it depends on the situation and how soon they need the help from the SSFA.
Well, viewer who is watching, those who are asking the question yesterday, you've heard it from the horse's mouth. SSFA's mandate and role is to regulate and ensure that the laws and the rules of the game are followed critically in this country. They are not mandated to whatsoever way support any club that is going out of this country to represent in CAF Champions League games, but they do support, because as a father in a home, you definitely have to understand the situation your children are going through, and you give them the little that you can afford. That's why they do support, but it is not their mandate. That's according to Mr. Victor Lawrence Lual, who is the General Secretary of South Sudan Football Association. In case you have your comment, just hit us up on our comment section. We will be reading those comments to you as we continue with the drive show on TK Sport. By the way, you can now, of course, buy airtime using mGrush. That's one thing you have to know. You can buy airtime using mGrush. You can send money to your friends and family members who are outside this country using mGrush. For you to do that, just register with mGrush today, so that you are able to access the services that they offer you out there. We're still with Victor in the studios, and we are going on with the discussion about the roles of South Sudan Football Association. I remember in 2020, if I'm not wrong, December 2020, before you came into office, South Sudan Football Association launched a strategic plan that was to oversee the development and improvement of women football in the country. That administration, like I said earlier on, was voted out by the General Assembly last July. Now there is a new administration. Someone out there would want to know, how far with that strategic plan? Is it still in place, or because this is a new administration, they are coming in with their new ideas that they feel will be better in incorporating women football?
First of all, I want to let you know that one of the points in the strategic plan of the new administration is to develop women football. That means it's still in line with the strategic plan that was developed by the FIFA consultant that time was Miss Jen from Uganda, and that strategic plan is within the overall strategic plan of the SSFA administration. And that's why you see there's the activities are still going on. Previously, we bring teams from each team from from the local football association, and they compete here. But in the strategic plan now, we extend the participation of the women football to all the local football association. Yes, we know not all of them have women teams, but they are coming up with the teams now. This year we're supposed to have the National League for Women with 10 teams. The first one was only 8.
Yes.
Now it has increased to 10. Maybe later on, when all the local associations have teams, then we will cover all the 16. But the strategic plan is still in place, and nothing has changed.
Well, talking about still the strategic plan, we've seen the number of female coaches in the country. I think, if I'm not wrong, they might not reach even 5 female coaches in the country. And one of the clauses in that strategic plan, which was launched, was to empower, train, and increase the number of female coaches. That will benefit, of course, the local football associations, like you said, and also the women football. How have you tried to evolve the trainings for the female coaches?
Yes, of course, trainings are going on, and all the local football associations, if they have any training for the coaches, referees, and all other uh, departments that are managing the football activities, always we encourage to involve the women so that we have enough number of them participating in the football development. The number 5 you mentioned are those who have C license, but we have a quite number that have D in different local football association. In terms of refereeing, there are a lot of them, and they are coming up. We have 3 international referees now, women, and we hope by next year the number is increasing.
Well, we have 3 international referees who are women, though unfortunately none of them was chosen to go and officiate at this year's Africa Cup of Nations for women. I don't know what happened. You didn't apply for it, or you didn't request?
It's not about application. We South Sudanese always we like rushing and hurry in things. You have the first list of the women last year. That means they need the time so that they be monitored. The people have to see their activities, and then later on to be. If you can see now, they were in Sikafa. So Sikafa is like a trial competition. If they perform well, maybe who knows, next time they will be appointed in the. If not, they're under 17, under 20. We still CAF has a lot of competitions. So to be in AFCON is not an easy thing. It takes time so that you reach that level.
Oh, the other point that I would want you to tell the viewers out there is about the youth system and youth football. Uh, we know for a national team to perform better in the future to come, the youth system should be vibrant, where the players come from a well-groomed football background. But we've seen our, first of all, grassroots is concentrated mostly within Juba, having a few academies around, which are, of course, supported by individuals.
Yes.
What is the plan of your administration at SSFA to ensure that all the country, the whole country, or let me say the 16 local football associations and the sub-local football associations fit into your system of trying to build grassroots football using academies?
Oh, well, there is one of the program that is initiated by FIFA, and it is starting this year. It's called Talent Development Scheme. It's led by the former Arsenal coach, Arsene Wenger.
A club that you support anyway.
Yes, that's my club. Okay. And we applied, South Sudan applied, and our application is approved. So they will come maybe next month or 2 months to come.
Is Wenger going to come to South Sudan next month?
Why not? And we are part of FIFA.
I hope Kayanga will be able to have a glance at his favorite coach.
This TDS, or the Talent Development Scheme, is one of the tools to develop youth and grassroots football. And everyone knows that if we don't develop the grassroots and the youth football, it will be very difficult that we have a team there will be a gap between the current team that we have and the grassroots level. So we need to have a continuous development of grassroots and youth, so that every time we develop players and they will continue playing.
Someone would want to know, Victor, before the FIFA youth program comes in, what is the plan that your administration has, leave alone the FIFA plan, the administration of SSFA? What plans do they have to ensure that we get the youth and the academies running?
Yeah, okay. And now, previously we didn't have a department for youth football. We only have the technical department, and then we have the women football, and also we have the grassroots. But under this technical department, we have youth football. It's one of the department that is required and it's a must by FIFA. It should be there. And also there is the beach soccer and then futsal. Now, currently, we have all these departments, and they are already started collecting data and to prepare their plans for the next season. We are planning to have there's something to do with the tournament for youth football, although it will not be a big thing, but it is like for trial. We will start with few teams from each local football association, and with support, of course. Football without support, sometimes it is very difficult to implement some of the things.
Well, football without support will be difficult to implement some of the things. That is according to the Secretary of South Sudan Football Association. The plans are on to start a youth league that will, of course, try to see the talent being brought out next month. Probably next month, we might be seeing Arsene Wenger, the former Arsenal coach, and now he is the youth development, football development director at FIFA. Perhaps putting his foot in Juba. That is if they can accept him to be around.
It's not a confirmed thing, but
it's not confirmed, but it might happen. Our letter, an application for the youth development plan is approved by FIFA. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will be talking about the anticipated National League. SSFA is intending to start up a national league. When will it start? These are questions, of course, people have asked. The man is around. He will be telling us when the national league will be kicking off, and much more is yet to come. Don't touch your dial and stay tuned. Welcome back from that short break. You're still watching the TK Drive on TK Sport. Right with me, Kelly Abale from our studios in Juba. For you who is watching on Facebook, of course, you can share with us your comment. We'll be reading them to you in a couple of minutes. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, you can also drop your comment right there, that side. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, you should subscribe. Just click on the subscription button, and yes, you will be joining the broadcast wherever you may be at this particular time. Today, we are privileged to be having the Secretary General of South Sudan Football Association, Mr. Victor Lores. He is with us right in the studios. And first of all, I want to say thank you to Mr. Robert Zakaria, who has just joined the broadcast, by the way. I don't know where you're watching from, whether you're in Khartoum or you are in Egypt, but I know, and I hope you are in Juba. Thank you for joining the broadcast, wherever you are. In the first part of the discussion, of course, we touched on some issues, including the mandate and role of South Sudan Football Association, which I think today has been made very clear to all of you who are watching. And we also talked about the women football and the youth football. In the second part of the show, we are talking about the National League, which of course is understood to be on the way coming, but when it will start is not yet known. The SG will be telling us more about the National League, and we'll also be talking about the referees, the coaches, and also our national teams a little bit later on as we continue. Don't forget to give us your feedback on our comment section. We will be reading them to the viewers a little bit later on. Welcome back, SG.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the purported proposal of a national league that was launched, I think, early this year. People have been asking this question time and again on different platforms that we are engaged in, on the radios and on our social media pages. They've been asking, when will the National League kick off?
Yeah. Those who have been following the activities of the South Sudan Football Association have noticed that we've been engaged with the plans and preparation for it's actually the Premier League, not the National League, because we already have the National League. And what we are planning now is the Premier League. And people should understand that Premier League is not just something that you just sit and then you say next month I'm going to organize it, because there are a lot of things that need to be put in place. One of the things you need to know that Premier League is played on a home and away basis. That means teams from Juba has to travel to Wow, has to travel to Awil, has to travel to Yambio, to Reed, and all these things. For you or for us as SSFA, we need to know, how are we going to manage this one? Who is supposed to be taking care of which one? Are the clubs going to take care of their travel, accommodation? What are the things that SSB should be taking care of? So it's not just a one-day meeting and then we declare that we are starting the National League or the Premier League on this time. But the preparations meetings are still going on, and everything will be shared. Everything will be shared as soon as possible. But quite a number of meetings have been done, and the format also is 70% agreed on, just remaining the final ways to see how it will be implemented.
The format is 70% agreed on. Would it be possible for you to hint to us what is the format going to be looking like?
Yeah, I think it will be better when it is ready, and we will share with all the media. Of course, you will get your share as the first tkSPORTS from our media department, and it's better always when we wait and then we give you the full details of everything, so that it makes sense.
So should we say there is possibility there will be a national league in 2023?
Yeah, hopefully 2023 will be, that is the target that we're putting as SSFA. We have to launch that one, 2023.
2023 August. That is the calendar year.
Yes, that is the target that we, and by that time, from now to that time, a lot of things would have been sorted out.
So I think for you who is watching and has been asking this question, because I've seen one comment coming in about the league, the target is August 2023. I think we are approximately a year away from that particular time.
I know one person will come and ask, why is it next year? Because, as I said in the beginning, football is not just a matter of playing. It's a plan, and you need to involve a lot of business and investors, sponsors, and all these things. So you need, for example, to look somebody who will sponsor the travel. You need somebody who will sponsor the other activities, the accommodation. So, and these are all companies you need to convince them, because it's a win-to-win situation. If I am going to support SSFA, what am I going to gain from SSFA? So to convince these such companies, it needs a lot of engagements, a lot of talks, so that we are in the same track.
When you talk about convincing these companies, I get this question: how will a company come in to sponsor something that has not yet taken off? How are we going to convince this company that yes, this is something which will be profitable to you when it is not, you have not seen the fruits on the ground?
That's why I'm saying that you have to do plans. When you have your proposal, your plan, you will show the companies that is this what we are planning, and this is what we will be doing. So if you plan something in the right way, and you have examples of the other countries, of course, that is, we are not the first country to start Premier League. Other countries have started, and we have the examples of those countries, and that is what we will sell out to the sponsors.
So how many clubs are we looking at to start this national league?
Yeah, that's why I said these are some of the things that we'll discuss later in the later stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on the later stage, we will get to know how many clubs will be looked at for the National League. But as of now, the SG has just confirmed to us that August 2023, there is a possibility of having a national league. The modalities are still being worked on how this league will definitely take place. Before we get to the next chapter, which will be, of course, the capacity building of the staff of SSFA, the referees, the coaches, and other departments. Let me first get some of your views that are coming through. This one is saying, my question goes like this. We have a lot of good players outside the country. Why is it difficult for SSFA to convince them to join our national team? This is coming in from Richard George. And the second question from him says, when will we have the National Premier League? I think, Richard, you've heard from the SG when probably the National League will be coming through. Yes, we have, and this brings us now to the discussion of the national team, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. You'll answer. Ask the SG about the question, this question. There was a plan to have a Premier League, which I think he has already answered. Also, how far is our women league now? Are we going to increase the number of women's team participating in South Sudan Women's Premier League from the current 8? I think he already gave us the answer to that question before I even read it. He said this time they're going to have 10 teams, right? This time round in the league for women.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, 10 teams will take part in the women's league, which means they have increased it by 2 right there. Ask him about the Pan-African School Championship that was launched by the CAF. We have seen many countries starting their inter-school championships. So when is South Sudan starting that? That is actually a question I was coming to, the inter-school championship. I heard, of course, the president once talking about it when he came back, I think, from the Dubai trip.
Yeah.
Yes, and we've seen other countries. I think Uganda has already had its inter-school competition. Botswana already had their inter-school competition, which is of course the pilot project, and then DRC Congo, I think, was the first to launch the inter-school project, which was initiated by the president of CAF. When do we see our inter-school championship taking place in South Sudan?
Yeah, we already have the meetings and preparation for the Pan-African School tournament, and it was supposed to start from March because the national phase is to start from March to July, and then the zonal phase will start in September, and the continental one is in November, December. So from our side, we already have we just had a meeting yesterday concerning the this competition, and things we have the focal point is our consultant, and Mr. William Okot is the one the focal point for this project. We have quite of schools that we are. It's a trial because we want to just start with the schools within Juba, but for the next year's tournament, will involve schools from the other states, and it will be. It's not. It needs support and cooperation with the Minister of Youth and Sports and the Minister of Education, and they were already engaged by CAF because I know CAF management. They already had meetings, Zoom meeting with the representative from the Minister of Sports and the Minister of Education. So probably by the beginning of July, we will kick off the Pan-African School Tournament here in Juba.
Okay, July is the time. Probably the Pan-African School competitions will be kicking off. Yes, Machek Riak Garang once again says, as part of transparency and accountability in the SSFA, how did SSFA motivate players during the AFCON qualifiers? I know SG must tell what exactly happened. Please don't hesitate to be transparent.
Yeah, we always been transparent, and there are some things like these are officials and official things, and these are administrative documents. Where they are not necessary to be discussed on the TV or live discussion. But we always, if it is not that enough, but we always motivate our players because we cannot compare ourselves with other countries. We know how we are, what we have, and the players are happy with what they are getting. So we always motivate them.
Okay, my question is, when will our clubs have their own playing grounds? Up to when are we going to depend on Bullock playing ground? And actually, we are going to be coming to the question of Bullock playing ground. Who manages Bullock playground? Is it the National Federation, SSFA, or it is the local football association, Juba Local Football Association? Because there are sometimes you hear people say that the Bullock is under the management of Juba Local Football Association. Others say it is under the management of South Sudan Football Association.
I think I will just answer the first question for when are the clubs going to have their own playing ground? If I don't know if we has been following us from the beginning, but as I said, these are managed by it's the business. If you manage to form your own club, then you have the ability to buy your own land, or you have a playing ground that you use for your activities. But SSFA will not be allocating each club that this is your playing ground. This is a thing to do with the Minister of Physical Infrastructure and other things.
Okay, so who manages Bullock playing ground?
It's SSFA with in collaboration with the
Juba Local Football Association.
and also we have the Athletics Federation. So it is a joint management.
Okay, well, those are some of your questions that have come through, and I hope he has answered part of them. We want to thank, of course, Isaac, who is watching us from Bidi Refugee Settlement. Thank you so much for following the broadcast. Sofet, that is Subek. We also thank you for watching. This one is a very strong fan of Qatar Football Club. He is also watching us. Thank you so much for following the broadcast. Well, in this part of the discussion now, we're going to be looking on to capacity building of the referees, coaches, the staff within the federation, We've had a lot of complaints coming in from football fans about the referees when football games are going on at Bullock. Some of them seem not to be so much into understanding the new rules of the game. Some of the decisions that they take during games, of course, anger the fans, and referees' decisions sometimes trigger violence during football games. What are you as SSFA doing to ensure that you build the capacity of these referees and also make them get to understand the new rules of the game? Do they have access to getting these rules, or perhaps they don't?
The referee department is one of the departments that they have a annual capacity or training that is being offered by either CAF or FIFA, and our local instructors are moving all over the local football association. So they are equipped with the new laws, and they are trained. But it's not. I'm not defending the referees on the decision sometimes, but the fans also has to, sometimes we need to equip ourselves with the new laws, with the situations in football, because laws have been changing a lot. The offside rules have changed. In 1 year they can change it 3 times. The handball has also been changed a lot. So fans have to know these things. They have to be reading the amendments. They have to know the rules that are changing. And before you come and fight and quarrel with the referee, you should know, are you really following with what is being with the new rules? So, and then in terms of capacity building in general, the coaches also, they have their share with in terms of the capacity building. SSFA currently is allowed to host C license. So that means we can host it here. The first time, for example, we will bring an instructor from CAF that will be supervising the course. But from that, the next one, we have the instructors. They will be the one managing the course. The technical department are working on the syllabus for the B license, and also if we are allowed, then we will be also doing our B license here in South Sudan, and also it would follow A and the other license.
That's for referees.
No, that is for the coaches.
For the coaches.
For the referees, we have the annual FIFA test. That is whereby it is always done in September, and this is where if we need to replace one of the international referees. That exams, the fitness test, is what determined that this person is to qualify to be an international referee. And people always misunderstand this part. Why always the six referees are always there? In FIFA international list, you cannot bring new referee if there is no one of the old referees is retiring. So you can do good, but if one of those old referees is still fit, and your number is only 6, so you will wait until it's retired. So it's not just a matter of replacing and bringing a new person.
So we're going to have as long as the 6 referees for the men now.
Unless we have we request from FIFA to have additional. And to have additional referees, it is determined with a lot of things also. So you need the active league, the referees should be doing a lot. So there are requirements and other things related to.
So in other words, we will not have new referees added to the list. For example, for the men, at this point in time, if we don't have an active approved league.
Our league is approved, because it's not okay. It's not a Premier League, but it's recognized. That's why we have these international referees.
Yeah.
But we only allocated 6. That is 2 referees and 4 assistants. And from our side, as from the management side, we're trying to have additional referees to make them 8 or even 10.
Well, they are trying to make them 8 or even 10, depending on whether CAF or FIFA accepts the request. That is according to the SG, who is with us on TK Sport this particular evening as we bring you the ticket drive. We're still here and we're going to be getting into the last segment with the SG as we talk about our national teams and also the other activities that they are engaging in right away. Let's talk about the national teams. We have, of course, the men's national team. That is the senior men's national team that just engaged itself in the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. The question that Ramadan George asked, Richard actually asked about bringing in players outside the country. For example, we have big name players in Australia who they feel, the fans feel, would be part of our national team, but they feel the SSFA is not doing enough to convince these boys to come back. What are you doing to ensure that those boys are convinced enough to come and be part of our national team?
It's a strange question from somebody who is following football, and I think bringing a player who is born in one of the countries, like let's say Australia or the US or even Europe, he played there in the grassroots level, maybe in these junior national teams, and to bring him play in South Sudan, it needs, first of all, it is willingness from him, the player himself, that I want to represent my country, like what happened to our Abraham Majok. You know, he played with the junior teams of Australia before, and he said, no, I want to come and help the national team of South Sudan. He's now playing with the national team, and also like Valentino is also part of our national team. So it's not about that SSFA failed to convince them. Most of them, we talk to them that we come and play for South Sudan, but they have to take, because this one is one, if you accept to play with South Sudan football national team, 2 or 3 games, now you will not change your mind to go and play back. So it is a decision that they have to think very well, and then also they take a right decision. So we talk to them. Now we are waiting their feedback.
Who are the players you've talked to?
A lot of players. So
yes, you can give some names so that Richard can get to know that yes, the SSFA has spoken to, let's say, for example,
okay, let's say the former administration they spoke to Tokmach, and most of the time he did not even want to. There was no good response from his side. But when we talked to his family here, they said, okay, he is ready to come, but the player himself is not ready to come and play for South Sudan. Now, a local,
the one in Germany.
Yes. People spoke to him. The president himself spoke to him. I talked to chat with him, but I can understand because now he's an upcoming player, and Australia is one of the countries where is these new coming players, they can bring and accommodate him quickly, and you know what they can give him more than what we can give here in South Sudan.
Okay, I believe Richard, you've got that information right there. There is this one particular player that I would want to ask whether you've tried to talk to him. He's 17 years old. He's called Garang.
It's a brother of
Garang Kwol.
Yeah.
Is a brother of Alo Kwol. Have you tried to talk to him to see whether he can be brought back home?
This player is still young. He's still an upcoming player.
17 years.
He's still 17, and he's playing with one of the teams in Australia.
Yes.
We are trying to reach him. We not yet spoke to him, and we hope that he accept to come.
Inshallah. Let's pray that he comes in. That is for the national, of course, team. Yes, we have the Chan games that are coming. What is the preparation plan for the Chan's game?
The camp for the Chan team is starting on the 4th. The coach is currently in Italy. He will come back on the 1st of July. On the 4th, the team will start the open camping, and the match is on the 22nd to 24th, and then the other one is on the 28th to 31st against Ethiopia. If we win, we will play against Rwanda in August.
Okay.
The list is already out. We will share later on, not when the coach comes. He already sent us the list, so we will start calling the players, writing to the clubs, and we hope to have the team that will qualify, because we have high chances of qualifying to. It's only 2 games, and you go to the finals.
Only 2 games, and we go to the finals. Of course, you have to beat Ethiopia first before you go and play Rwanda. Ethiopia, remember, beat Egypt by 3 goals, 2 goals to 0. And I'm meant to understand all those players were home-based players. So a lot of work has to be done for us to beat them if we are to make it to the other side. Let's talk about the underage teams. Under 17, under 20, and under 23 will be having engagements. That is, I think, from October. The under 20,
under
20 and under 17 will be for the Sekafa. Under 20, I think, in October.
Yeah, the under 20 will be in October in Sudan.
Yes.
And it's a qualifiers for AFCON.
For AFCON, 20. Yes.
And we have also the under 17. It's also a qualifiers
for AFCON.
It will be played in Ethiopia.
Yes.
So the under 17.
And then the under 23 will be in Tanzania.
And under 23 in Tanzania. And it's also a qualifiers for the Olympic.
So what are the plans for these underage teams?
All these underage teams, we already appointed their the technical staff, the coaches and the assistant on the other technical staff, and they are just waiting to start training officially. Under 20 is still in to be played in October. So probably by the beginning of August, they will start their camping and preparation. Under 17, the coaches are there. They're still putting their plans, and the competition supposed to be in August. The final date are not yet communicated by Sikafa. So we are waiting. Anytime when they just send us the dates, they will announce their start of the campaign.
Well, as we almost get done with the SG in the studios, we'll be winding it up with the women's national team that was in Jinja 2 weeks ago. They played, of course, 3 matches, losing 2, winning 1 against Zanzibar. I was with you, and we watched the game against Zanzibar together, though you were on the other side of the VIP. The performance of the team, where do you think is the future of this women's team going?
Yeah, according to the team that we have now and the team that we have in like 2019, it has improved a lot, but it needs a lot of work also to be done. And women football is not is something new in South Sudan. When I say something new, it's like the players are still coming up, and they need a lot of training. They need a lot of work to be done. But they are doing good now. On the current team we have, they are doing good. Their coach has done a lot, and we hope also for the next participation they do better.
Let's talk about the women's team. We talk about the current crop of players. I believe if we are to give them more years, it could be 2 or 3 more years to be active, and they will be out of the line. What is next for our national women's team after this current crop of players are gone?
That's why in the strategic plan and the plan of the SSFA, we want to concentrate on the schools to start especially the girls football in the schools, because this is where we can get a lot of activities for games and the players from the schools. So we know if we don't start it from that level, there will be a huge gap between this team which is currently playing and the coming generation, because now we are starting from the basic so that they reach the other one, and it needs a lot of work, of course. And the good thing now, there's a lot of clubs, women teams, most of the clubs in Juba, let's say first division, they have women teams, and they are doing their best. So they need support, they need a lot of training so that they can reach that level.
Well, finally, as this comment comes through, ask the SG about the national team kit. The uniforms are always out, but very expensive. Yet every citizen would always want to wear his or her country's flag. So why does SSFA always compare their prices to the prices in the market? Can't you just increase the number of national team kits, and sell them affordably to the citizens, and also have centers in all the state capitals other than only in Juba? How did you come up with a price for the national team jersey?
Of course, we have a committee that is handling this section, and this price, if we compare it, the price was like 15,000 SSP, that is equivalent to $30. If you compare it with the other national teams outside there, you can get others, they are selling $70, $80. I know a lot of people think that if you go to any market there, you can get even with 5,000, 3,000. These are what they call third class replica, and this is the first class replica. So there are different. This replica that we have is the first replica, and it was the first time the national team played in Uganda. And that price, yes, of course, we realize it is very expensive, and the committee is working on how to reduce it to affordable price, and this price will be shared soon also.
So there is possibility the price will be reduced?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Machek Riak Garang, you're becoming one of the top fans over tkSPORTS, by the way. I hope you've got the answer there. Soon the price will be reduced a little bit. Lastly, a lot of fans would want to watch the national teams play in the country and not outside the country. It is those that have some little, perhaps, dollars in their pockets that would get a chance to travel maybe to Kampala if the national team is playing an international game in Kampala, or to Khartoum, and perhaps those citizens who are in those countries will be the only ones to get the chance. When will our national stadium be ready to host games for the Bright Stars and other national teams within the country?
Well, the construction is going on well in the stadium. We have block A, B, D. These blocks. D is where the VIP, the dressing rooms, and all this side is the final touches, and we are waiting just to bring the equipments to put there. The construction is going on the 7 mile, because it was to be started from the beginning, and there also there's a good progress in it. We are all waiting to play in Juba, because when you are playing in your home ground, always is you have a lot of support of the fans, and although that is not always is a winning cut, because it's not always a winning cut. People think that if all the matches to be played in Juba, we will be winning. No, that is not the case. But it is always increase the morale of the players when you're playing in your home, and we hope to before the end of the year we play here, and we are hoping that we play the September games here if the work is going on as planned.
So you're confirming to the fans out there that there is possibility
if the work,
game will be played in Juba.
If the work is going on according to the plan, we hope to play in September here. So, and also we don't need to rush start to play the game here in September without CAF will come and approve the stadium. If they come in September and they approve the stadium, for sure we'll play here.
There is possibility, according to the SG, that we may play our game against Congo Brazzaville, not the other Congo, the DRC, but Congo Brazzaville in Juba, if the work goes on successfully as planned at the Juba Stadium. But if it does not, then perhaps he will tell us when or where this game will be played. But he cannot tell us now because it is not his mandate to decide where the game is played. It is the mandate of the board of directors at SSFA that decides where the game is usually played. Maybe what he will tell us is where will the game with Ethiopia be played?
Ethiopia has selected to play in Tanzania, their home game, and tomorrow we'll have the decision that where we're going to play our game also, and for sure it will be shared to the media, and I know everyone want to go and watch the game, and we might play in Uganda, Khartoum, Tanzania, any of these.
Or you will take it to South Africa?
So the decision will be taken tomorrow.
So tomorrow, by this time, definitely you will get to know, as a football fan of South Sudan, you will get to know where South Sudan will be playing the CHAN qualifiers against Ethiopia and also against Rwanda, because from the time they will play the return leg against Ethiopia, if they win the first league, then probably we will already have known that we will be against Rwanda in August. So all these confirmations will be coming to you tomorrow on our social media platforms, because we will not have this broadcast until next Sunday. But our social media platforms are always open, of course, to give you all the information that you really would want to get on sports in this country. Well, that brings us to the end of the discussion with the Secretary General of the South Sudan Football Association. We'll be letting him go, take his rest, but we're going to come back with my colleague Kayanga John to finish up the next few minutes, as we'll be eating up with the transfers that have happened in the last 24 hours. Simba, that we talked about yesterday, has already made a signing, and that signing is a big name signing. But who is the player? You will get to know in a couple of minutes, as we ask the SG to tell us his final words before we can let him go.
I would like to thank the tkSPORTS management and the host Kelly Abale for this wonderful time, and for the fans of football. We have always to be patient on all the things that are going on in football here. The stadium will see the light soon, and we will play in Juba. It's not, we don't want to go and play outside, but because we don't have that. Even the other countries that have been there for years now, the stadiums are being banned by FIFA and by CAF, sorry. But we are trying our best to have the stadium. There are other things that we like. The calling of the players to the national team is a decision of the coach, not the administration. So people should know that good play in your area that is not being summoned or called to the national team is the coach that has seen something that he needs 6 strikers. He already have 6 strikers, so he doesn't need to bring like 80 strikers, and he's not going to use all of them. So people have to be patient. You might think he's a good player, but there are other small areas that the coach is seeing differently. So we have to be patient, and everyone deserves a chance.
Well, we have to be patient, and everyone deserves a chance. As we let the SG take his leave, we take a short break. We will be coming back with Kayanga John to finish up with the transfers that happened in the last 24 hours. and perhaps also what we expect in the next few days to come as the transfers gear up. Someone was telling me this evening on phone that towards the end of the transfers, that is when these big clubs will be scrambling to sign players. Is it true? Coming up next. Stay tuned.
that is coming on board on with the Simba FC. So Simba needed really to have a player of his caliber and leading the attack for them is going to be a crucial one for Simba. So if you look at he's coming in, and you look at the performances that Simba had in second division, I think it was quite a good young squad. But for now, they should be up to maintain themselves at the top flight. So they need a top player of Attack Lual's caliber.
Well, that is Attack Lual, of course, joining Simba in the ongoing transfer window. Qatar FC have also confirmed today their second signing of the season, and the player that, of course, they have signed is Toto Mahad. He signs from a Ugandan Premier League club, Onduparaka FC, but according to sources, this gentleman has been training with this club for the last 6 months before he signed the contract. He has even been watching some of the games of the club at Buluk, putting on the club jersey, by the way, before signing. But finally today they confirmed. Do you think yesterday we talked about Qatar having, of course, all those midfielders? We talked about Chol Peter Bentu, Sande Peter, you have Shuder Tut, we have Magong, that is Joseph Malish, and there's this young midfielder they brought from Future Stars, a couple of other midfielders in the team. Do you think this is the right signing that they're adding to the four of the team?
Like I said, I think Qatar is well set in the midfield or the center of the park. They have good names that you have just mentioned who are used to the league. But perhaps if you needed a depth in your squad and you are going to play a couple of games like last season, we have seen there's Christmas Cup, you have Ramadan Cup, suspensions come in. The funny part is suspensions can come after two yellow cards. If you accumulate 2 yellow cards, that is in 2 consecutive games, that means the third game you are going to miss. So injuries will play their part. Definitely you need the squad depth, and perhaps that is why Qatar decided to go for another midfielder in the names of Toto. He might be having played for Nduparka. How regularly he was, that is another question. But if he has played at that level, the knowledge, the experience he has learned from Nduparka, I think will be key to helping Qatar off on the pitch. You know, you need leaders in the team. When you have a young squad, you need players that will take responsibilities, players who can talk to the young ones. So in the times when things are not going their way, you know, there's always a time where the team is struggling. General, no one is at their best, and you need players who have ever experienced such run of situations in a team, and they help the rest of the squad to come out of such situations. So if they are signing him for such, because he has got the experience having played with Onduparaka in the Uganda Premier League, then it's a credit to them. If they have really identified, perhaps you never know, maybe one of their midfielders could as well be leaving the names that you have mentioned. But if they are all going to be intact, perhaps maybe some areas will be strengthened. Some of the players might be versatile, you know, be deployed in different positions. Maybe some of them can be pushed a bit up, you know, to the attack. You never know how they will be utilized by the coaches. But you know, every signing as it happens, a coach must have a say. So I don't think it's that it's not good for them to go for a midfielder the coach might have recommended, because he has seen the qualities in the player. If he has been training with the club, he must have recommended it.
Well, that is Qatar FC there for you. I'm also meant to understand, these are rumors now, by the way. Someone was telling me, I'm becoming the king of rumors when it comes to the transfer gossips. At Labara FC are on the verge of signing a new goalkeeper, but the name is withheld until the deal is concluded. They're also in plans of signing another midfielder as perhaps a replacement of Sunday, who of course left the club in December to join Qatar. Those are the two rumors coming in from the Barra boys. Merrick, I'm meant to understand they will be holding a meeting tomorrow, and that meeting will be discussing the transfer window. Perhaps maybe the information I was given earlier on that the top clubs will be gearing up for the transfers towards the end of the events. I'm meant to understand Citizen, by the way, have not registered any signings so far this transfer window, and reports are like they're waiting for the last 5 days. That's when they will be signing players. Viva Star on the verge of signing 4 players. Probably by Wednesday they will be registering 4 players at once. That's according to reports coming in from that side of the club. But the biggest news from Viva Star is the purported move for the Yei Mission FC of Yei midfielder, that is Kennedy Juma. According to reports, the club has dropped its interest in signing the short midfielder because of too much demands. I'm meant to understand he has put a lot of demands on the table. The club itself is asking for $2,000 for the sale of the player. The player is asking for, I think, like $4,000. That is his own, not the club now. So in other words, the club will spend almost 6,000 before he puts pen to paper. And then the other conditions, his family is in Uganda in the refugee camp. He wants them to be repatriated back, and Viva Star has to facilitate all those demands. So what do you make of, we talked about a player yesterday asking for $10,000 for 1 year, and 2 years $20,000. This one is asking for 4,000 as he's putting his stamp on the paper. The club is asking for $2,000 and other demands. What do you make of these demands from these kind of players?
I'm personally not saying that players shouldn't demand from the clubs, but you know, they need to be reasonable. You know, your demand shouldn't overweigh your own contributions to the club. At the end of the day, what do the clubs get? You know, if I'm joining club A and they have paid me whatever that they want, I also want to put smile on their faces. And what will be that? Yes, I can fight hard to help the team to win the title. You know, let's be realistic. If I help the team to win the title, how much are they getting as the value to that title? Is it something higher than what they have paid me? Because I can be proud to say I won the team this amount of money worth the value of the title I fought for. And I must be proud I contributed, and I want to do this again. So by the time you leave the club, or you think of leaving the club, you should have brought whatever that the club has spent on you, maybe 3 or 4 more times. But look at the values. Like I said in the previous shows, the pressure now comes back to the local football association or the organizers of the league. You know, clubs are investing, but at the end of the day, they get nothing in return. So it is a high time that the organizers of the league look into bringing, you know, value or having sponsors to these leagues or competitions. At least a club should be able to get something at the end of the season. If we have signed, let's say, one of the teams or 2 of the teams in Juba might be closing $40,000 or even $50,000 as the total expenditure if they complete the transfers. We are not going to mention the teams, but they are evident. If we look at the amount of money that they have already spent, it's closing to 40 or 45,000. So the remaining few days they might clock to 50,000. If this team in question wins Juba Local League, how much are they going to get? will they be getting $70,000?
Less than $2,000.
So if you do the comparisons, as a player, yes, I've been paid this amount of money and I win the Juba Local League title for the club, the money that they get is less than what we might have spent in the preseason.
Not even less, is a third less than what they spent on you.
Perhaps, but I'm just looking at the expenditure even the club goes through during the trainings. You know, you need training items, you need facilitations, transportation, and what of you. Forget about the fees that have been used on the or paid for these players. Look at the expenditure that the clubs go through. So we now need to, the pressure comes back to the organizers, or the Juba, that is the local football associations. They now need to look outside the box and see for sure there's something, even if it's not equivalent of what the clubs spend, but should be something that is reasonable. At the end of the day, a club that is crowned the champion can go back and relax and say, okay, this is what we have got on the table. Let's stop on it so that we can sign players for the next transfer. But if you're going to get something that can even not, you know, cater for the operational cost of the team, you know, if clubs are to sit here, I wish you asked Victor the stress he used to go through as the secretary of Citizen Football Club.
That time he was thin. I remember.
Because the stress is quite enormous. One, you need to make sure trainings take place. There must be water provided. These players have got juice. They have medication because of injuries. They have transportation to take them back. On match days, you need to hire a bus that carries these players. Before even the bus, you need to prepare something that the players can have as a meal before they go for the game. So you need to facilitate the transportation and a lot of other things. Playing boots comes in. So when we look at the expenditures of the clubs in Juba, and this, or in the entire country, not only Juba, and these are coming from individuals, you know, individuals that pull money and they put together to see that these teams progress and give opportunity to these boys to play. I think it's a high time the players need to sit down, let them look at the efforts that the club administrators are trying to bring forth. Suppose if someone says, I don't want to contribute, let me go and take care of my kids in the house. What will happen to football? The football that they are trying to demand money on, what will happen to it? If these club administrators one day say we are no longer interested because what we have, we need to take care of our families with. So the players need to be reasonable. Like you mentioned in one of the shows, should we have, you know, kind of a workshop for the players? You know, if this can happen and make players really understand how things work or how this management get this money, maybe they will understand what we need to demand at the end of the day. But this kind of demands, you know, sometimes some of the management, when a player says I need a motorbike, Bajaj, because they can even specify, and the club administrator is moving on foot, just imagine me contributing to buy for you so that you come and play and win something that I will just smile and celebrate at the end of the day. I go home, sleep.
Last question.
You will think twice.
Last question to you before we get out. When is Al-Tahadi doing a transfer business?
I've recommended, I've given my priority list to the management. The rest will be handled by them. You know, I don't engage in negotiations as a coach. What I do is to identify players that I feel can fill the gaps that we really lacked last season. And this list is already with the management. They are working on it. When the signings will happen, we are waiting to see.
Well, Al-Tahadi, Citizen, Al-Hilal, Gudele, Amarat United have no difference. They are yet to make any signing in the ongoing transfer window in Juba and, of course, across the country. It has been a pleasure hosting this show on this chilly Sunday evening. As we get out, we'll leave you with one message. As you get out to go start a new week tomorrow, make sure that you are conscious of the driving that takes place in Juba and other parts of the country. Some of our drivers are very reckless. This morning, 2 people lost their lives due to accidents that occurred in Juba. May God bless you as you wake up on a Monday morning to kickstart a new week ahead of you. I say thank you so much for watching the TK Drive on TK Sports. My name is Kelly Abale. We'll definitely do it again next Sunday. Good night and God bless you.